showing us why he's MVP, putting up 41, 13, and 6, but it was a total team effort. Chris Middleton with a huge first half. Drew Holiday doing his thing. The Suns now lead 2-1. It certainly didn't help losing DeAndre Ayton in the third with foul trouble, but it was all about Giannis. 40 points, 10 boards in back-to-back finals games. Only 2 players in finals history have ever done that. LeBron in 2016, Shaq in 2000. Both of them won the title that year in finals MVP. Good company to be in, Max Kellerman. Is Giannis the most important player in the series?
He is. Look, 41, 13, and 6, right? The only thing that's up off his normal averages for the last 3 years is the points. Giannis will give you 28 to 30 and almost exactly an average over the last 3 years, 13 boards and 6 assists, by the way, with a block. You know, that's what he does. He's a 30, 13, and 6 guy. And he gave you an extra 11 points last night because, as you mentioned, DeAndre Ayton's foul trouble helped him out. But he was absolutely fantastic. 2 nights in a row, by the way, 2 games in a row. He had superhuman efforts and superhuman production, and this is coming off a hyperextended knee where he missed the end of the Eastern Conference Finals. It's always the same with Giannis and the Bucks. When he gets help, he can win and even be the best player on the floor, the best player in the world on that night, right? But he needs help. Great bigs, and Giannis is a big, need guys on their level. Sometimes Middleton can put the cape on. Sometimes Drew Holiday can. When he gets that, he wins. Otherwise, they waste a performance. Stephen A. Kendrick Perkins, can't wait till Kendrick Perkins is back on this show, talking about Middleton as Batman on some nights. But the Batman of this team is obviously Giannis, who had finals MVP performances in 2 of these 3 games.
You know what, Max? It's not that I'm looking at your points and I disagree with them per se, but I don't feel Giannis is that guy pretty much because I take him for granted. He walks around averaging 28 or better and with double digits in rebounds. When I think about Giannis, I don't think about the overall number, Max. I think about what you're going to do from the free throw line when it really, really counts. If the game gets tight, can I trust you to deliver free throws? Can I trust you to score when the defense sags and they force you to take a perimeter shot instead of allowing you to get to the basket at will? That's what I think about. I don't think about Giannis's overall numbers because I know they're going to be there. The question is, what are you going to do when it counts? And that's why when I think about the most important player, I really, really think about Devin Booker. Because when I look at Giannis in Milwaukee, I say, okay, those numbers are going to be there. All right, but Middleton and Drew Holiday, when you talk about importance, they got to step up and they got to help them out. I look at Devin Booker, and I'm saying right now he's shooting 33% from three-point range. What is he shooting from the field? About 38%. He's averaging better than 22 a game, but the bottom line is last night he was absolutely positively anemic. Shot 3 of 14 from the field, like 1 of 7 from three-point range. Just didn't have it. He didn't even play the fourth quarter because his legs were shot and they were gone. They don't have any chance of beating the Milwaukee Bucks as presently constructed if you don't get more quality production from Devin Booker. They have no chance because they simply don't have the bodies. That's why I've been a proponent of seeing Cameron Johnson more, because this brother can shoot. I'm saying get him in the game more. I don't know what the hell has happened to Cameron Payne. He plays 37 minutes in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. He drops 29 and 9 in 37 minutes without a turnover, and there's been an APB out for him ever since. He twisted his ankle the next game. Hasn't been the same since. I don't know what the hell is going on with him because he's in the lineup and he's playing. I'm just saying, when you look at Phoenix and how depleted they appear and what they need in order to win this series, Giannis is going to get his numbers no matter what, just by accident. Devin Booker, to me, is the key, and that's why I have him, Max, as the most important.
In a way, like the kind of guy Giannis really needs to be a perennial championship contender, real contender, is Devin Booker. Because Giannis, there's a reason Shaq looked at Giannis and said he could have the Superman title. First guy Shaq said that about. Dwight Howard, he was like, this guy. Because he is like Shaq, this unstoppable physical force. But he's not a closer, just like Shaq wasn't a closer. Devin Booker, I called him on this show a mini Mamba. because he's that kind of guy. And Kobe was the closer on those Lakers teams. But you know what? They played on the same team. In that case, Shaq and Kobe. Shaq got all 3 finals MVPs. He was the most important player in those finals. And they're on different teams right now. You know, the new Shaq and the mini Mamba, right? Superman and the mini Mamba are on different teams right now. And it's easy to look at the guy who you trust with the ball in his hands at the end of the game and go, that's the most important guy.
Max.
But because of Giannis and Shaq, you're even in that position.
No, you're saying that Shaq was the most important player because of his dominance and what have you. I would make the argument that in at least a couple of final series, Kobe was the most important. Now, Shaq was the most important against Philly because you had Dikembe Mutombo was a defensive player of the year, patrolling the paint, blocking shots, and doing things against everybody else that he couldn't possibly do against Shaq. And because of Dikembe Mutombo's ability to change the game on the defensive end of the floor, Shaq's dominance was not just big time in terms of his numbers, but it was important because of what Dikembe would have been able to do to the Lakers, if not for Shaq being in the lineup. But in other series, you looked at the greatness of Kobe on the perimeter and what he was capable of doing, and it's important. In this series, we look at Giannis Antetokounmpo. We see the Greek freak. We know he's going to get to the basket. We know what he's going to do. But we also saw him struggle from the free throw line. In game 1, obviously, he was just back from the injury, trying to feel himself. Just not last night, really, more so than anything else. But Devin Booker, all of a sudden, Devin Booker has nothing for you, and it's not even a game.
Well,
they down by damn near 30. And that's what I'm saying. I'm just looking at it differently. I'm not knocking the point about Giannis. I get where you're coming from. But I'm saying based on how depleted Phoenix is and what they need to win because of who they are, their makeup, that's what makes Booker so important in this series right now because of their circumstances.
Booker is not going to struggle shooting the ball for the rest of it. It's not going to be every game for the rest of the series.
We're saying it's important because he can't. He can't afford to.
He's not built that way. What we've seen from Booker is the brighter the lights shine, the better he's generally performed. I don't think the Bucks can count on him not playing well. They're going to have to play better than the Suns.
We actually saw him have a couple of struggles in the first round, and then he come back and close it out the
really
last 2 games, stuff like that. You know, that's all.
Yeah.
It could happen again, and then he shows up in game 5. But he could have another stink in game 4.
Maybe one.
Let me ask you this. The Suns are still favored to win the series, that according to Caesars. But outside of Giannis and Booker, because they're kind of the obvious ones, who then needs to step up? Who's the most important?
Me personally, I really believe that Monty Williams has to get this kid, Cameron Johnson, in the game more. The brother can shoot the basketball, man. He's athletic, he can shoot, and people keep forgetting that pedigree. He was at the University of North Carolina. He was the star of that team. His brother didn't come out of nowhere. He can ball, and he can shoot, and I would get him more minutes because he's got decent size with him, and he can hit three-point shots. You can't leave him open. I think that in order to beat Milwaukee, you're going to have to do it from the perimeter, and you're going to have to keep DeAndre Ayton from getting into foul trouble. You do that by making sure you can hit more perimeter shots, and I think you throw the gauntlet at them in that regard and make sure you got cats out there that can drill open shots. That's why I would say Cameron Johnson.
Cam Johnson is a starting caliber talent. He's a starting caliber type player, and in fact, I assume this year that whatever it is, Jay Crowder in the beginning, by this time of year, Cam Johnson would be the starter. That didn't exactly happen that way, but you're right. Cam Johnson is a very talented player and can be helpful in this series to the Suns. And the fact is, I do believe, Stephen, I know you don't, that the Suns have the better starting 5. They also have the best guy who's not in their starting 5, I think, in the series.
All right.
Yeah, we don't no disagreement there.
Yep.